All right, let's get started with the About Me activity. So before you get started on this activity, you're going to need to do step 1, which is the software setup. If you need help with that, I have a video on it. And then you're going to need to do step 2 on your own as well, which is HTML vocabulary. So you can read through this piece here and click to read these articles on W3 Schools. And I also would invite you to use, it says the Try It Yourself tool, so that you can play around with the code too. The more you play around with it, especially if you're a hands-on learner, the more you will understand it. So definitely do that. And remember, at the end of this week, you do have to pass an HTML quiz with 100%. So pay really close attention to this. And now I'm going to get started with this About Me activity. So you're going to create your first HTML file. So we're going to have to create a new file in Glitch, and we're going to call it aboutme.html. It says no caps, no spaces. Okay, this is really important because I need to be able to find your file, and we all want to be on the same page. So I'm going to do that real fast. So I have Glitch open, and this should be your starter code. Again, you should have this starter code from the software setup activity. If you don't have that, please go do that. Now we're going to click New File, and we're going to create that About Me file. Again, no spaces, nothing. Just aboutme.html. And now we have a blank file here. So we are going to take this code and type it in. Now I'm going to copy and paste it in so that this tutorial is quicker, but I would encourage you to type this out line by line so that you get used to what you need to do when you're creating an HTML file. At the end of the semester, you're going to be creating HTML all on your own. We're not going to be giving you any starter code like this, so it's really important that you type this out on your own so that you can get used to that and so that you're ready when we come to that second half of the semester and you are making your own files and writing all your own code without any help. Okay, so titles and headlines is step 4. So a visitor to your website should not have to guess what the page is about. The title says all about me, although you can see all about me looking at the HTML. So what does that mean? Hang on. Let's take a look. So see how it says all about me here. Now what it's saying, I'm going to show this in another tab or in a new window. And then up here it still says WDD 130, but that's because it went to my index page. So I want it to do my About Me file, so I have to type that up here, aboutme.html. Again, just exactly how I entered it before. No spaces, no capitals, nothing like that. And so now here I can see it, and I can see that it says all about me up here, just like it does in the title. And now I have my instructions up on a second screen over here, so I'm going to read from over here, but you can also follow along on your own. So, okay, we talked about the title, and we also says, so we can use a headline element on our page so that when someone visits your page, they will know what your page is about. So that's just saying, you know, we can see that it says all about me up here in the tab, but here we don't really know that this is the About Me page, right? Like it just says Hello World. So we're going to use some headings. Now you should have read about this if you already did step 2 about different headlines. So we have H1 through H6, and they can be used to establish a hierarchy for your page. The smaller the number with the H, like H1 for example, the larger the text, the more important the headline should be. And H1 for example should be used for the most important title on the page. H2 tags would be the next level, and you can use as many as you need. Think about the structure of this course. It's broken up into weeks and activities. An outline using headline elements would look like the following. Okay, so let me pull that up so you can see the example. So we would want our biggest heading to say WDD 130. This is a little outdated. We would want it to say WDD 130. It's the most important that you know that this is the WDD 130 course. Next, we want to go into the week 1 content, which is an H2. So it's a little smaller, but you can tell, that it's important. Then we have these H3s, which have your activities. So we have the software setup, getting to know you, and then the purpose and audience, which I actually am pretty sure that's a week 2 or 3 activity. Anyway, and then week 2, and then we have the content here. So you can see that we use the sizes of the headings to establish, just like the instructions say, a hierarchy. So you can tell what goes together, what's most important, those kinds of things. So we're going to use tags to do that as well. Oh, and then just like it says here, we want to let visitors know what your page is about at a glance. I'm sure you know from your own behavior when you read on the internet, but most people just scan. Very few people actually will read a whole web page, and so headings are really important for that, for people who scan web pages. Especially if you are looking for a certain piece of information, the headings help you find that. Okay, so we're going to use the H1 tag so that we can let people know what this page is. And then, so to do that, we're going to add a line between the body and the paragraph elements. And we're going to add the H1 tag and have it say about me. And then we're going to add the H1 closing tag, which I'll show you. And then we can add a subheading as well. So we can put the first name and nickname if you have one of those. So it kind of gives you an example right down here what it could look like. But I am going to go ahead and do this for you. So above the headline or the paragraph, see it says your code goes here. I want to point out, if I click this main tag, the closing main tag highlights, and I want it to be within those main tags. So I want to do my H1 heading, and luckily it creates my closing tag for me, but I want you to point out that we do have a closing tag. You have to have your closing tags. So we're going to type about me, and you'll notice as I do these videos I always type something wrong. And now we're going to do a subheading, so an H2, a little bit smaller of a heading. And real fast, I have my preview on over here, but it's previewing my index file. I'm going to change the URL so that we can see my about me file. And again, just like I did in that other tab, I'm typing it exactly how we created it, the aboutme.html. And so we can see these 2 links here, which are right here, those links. And now we can see the headings that I'm creating and the paragraph down there. So now we have our H2, and this is where we can put our first name. So my first name is Bree. And then we're going to do our nicknames here. Well, that kind of is my nickname. It's my full name. Fun fact is Brianna. But my name is Bree. And you guys can call me whatever you feel comfortable with. You can call me Sister Brednicki. You can call me Sister Bree. Some people call me Sister Bree. Whatever you feel comfortable with. And then we still have our paragraph here. So we've created a heading and a couple subheadings, and then we have a paragraph. I'm going to get rid of this where it says your code here. Notice that it doesn't show up over here. This is what a comment is. It's called an HTML comment. It's so that you can make comments in your code if you need to make a note to yourself, but you don't want it to show up over here. Comments are really useful when creating code. Step 5, we're going to do paragraphs. So we're going to write a few paragraphs to tell a little bit about yourself. So you're going to post this on the Get to Know You discussion board, so whatever you want to tell your peers about yourself. But some ideas, real fast, before I go into the ideas, just remember that this website can be viewed online by the public. It's not password protected. It's not something that only BYU students can see, so maybe, don't put anything super personal. But, you know, do tell us a little bit about you. So do you have, so your first name and perhaps a nickname, so maybe just what you want to be called, and then the degree that you are getting, some things that you like to do, if you have if you have a spouse, if you're married, if you have children or grandchildren, a job, something that you like about BYU-Idaho or BYU Pathway. I teach both BYU-Idaho and BYU Pathway, so I try to keep these videos general so that it works for all of you guys. So either or. And then if you see any advantages from learning web design, also, you know, are you doing web design? I know some of you guys take this class just for fun. And then the membership with the church. Are you a member? How long have you been a member? Have a favorite scripture? Anything. You guys can share whatever you want. Those are just some ideas. So I will post mine, but I'm just going to post these ideas for you in this super long paragraph that makes no sense. Copy paste. So you'll want to create a paragraph. You can add multiple paragraphs so if you want, so you could do another P tag. All the typos, guys. Second paragraph. And that's not spelled right either. I'm gonna leave it. Okay, so step number 6 is to view your work. So we've actually already been doing that. You can see it on the right hand side here. If yours isn't showing though, you can click show and then show next to the code or show in a new window. And then again, I just want to remind you guys, I showed this earlier, but in case you have been skipping ahead, if you can't see your page, then you'll have to type in aboutme.html after the website. You need to make sure that there's a slash between the end of the website and where you type aboutme.html. And now you can see my website that I've created. Okay, so step 7 is to add an image. So we're going to go to the assets bucket here, and you'll see that there's already a couple images in here. You can click upload an asset, and it should pop open your documents so that you can add an asset. Let's see. I don't even know what some of these screenshots are, so I'm just not going to add a file. But you guys go ahead and add a file of yourself, and I'm just going to use one of these for my example, but you do need to add an image of yourself, okay? That is a requirement. So once you have your image here, you are going to need to get the path to the image. And so you'll be able to click the image and click copy. And so that's the path. That's where the image lives on the internet. So we copied that, and we'll go back to our About Me. And now we need to create an image tag. And so it wants us to put the image right after the H1 tag. Oh, sorry. I'm not even thinking right after the H1 tag, but we're not creating an H1 tag. We are creating an image tag. Okay, and the image needs to have a source. So the source is going to be that path to the image, which again is where the image lives on the internet. You'll also want to create or use what's called an alt attribute. And the alt attribute is important because say your image didn't show for some reason. Let's say I typed a bad pathway. So now my image doesn't show. So I could say, what is it? A photo of R2D2 in the snow, if I remember correctly. So now we can see a description. And also people who use screen readers to view the internet who are blind or have other disabilities, alt tags make images and things like that more accessible. So we want the internet to be an accessible place for everyone. So never forget your alt tags. Always remember your alt tags. Later in the semester you will lose points if you forget the alt tags. Okay, so now I have that image there and it looks great. Now, one thing I do want to say, like, you can see that image is pretty large, right? Your image might be sized correctly, mine is not, and it takes up a lot of space. So let's go back to my About Me file. Yeah, so that takes up a lot of space, makes it hard to read my web page. So I'm going to give it a size real fast. Later in the semester, we're going to learn a better way to do this. So later in the semester, after we learn CSS, hang on, sorry, I need to get a drink of water real fast. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so later in the semester, once we learn CSS, I expect you to use CSS to do this, but for now, this is an okay way to do it because you haven't learned CSS yet. But you can just do width equals, and guys, with code, things have to be spelled right. So WIDTH, or it will not work, okay? You'll learn that with code. You'll be like, why isn't it working? And it will probably be a typo. Not always, but it happens. And so I'm going to make this 150 pixels wide. And when you use a width on an image like this, you don't actually have to put pixels here. And actually, that's technically invalid, and you will get code errors later when we learn how to validate code. So you just do the number, and 150 looks good, but you can play around with it and do whatever you want. But if your image is too wide, that's a great little trick there to make your image the right size. Now, the last two steps are pretty simple. You just need to upload an image to your iLearn profile and then post your app to the discussion board. So to post it, you're going to want to click share and click live app and copy it. And I want to show you what that is real fast. So I copied that and I'm going to paste it. And so you can see here, this is actually your home page. So you might want to click over to your About Me and then copy and paste this file. So that when you paste your URL and people from the discussion board visit, your peers, we can come directly to this page. So the discussion board, I don't actually have it up, but you guys know how discussion boards work. So go ahead and post the link to this on the discussion board and make sure that you review some of your peers' web pages. Get to know your peers, get to know each other. And that is part of the grade. So a good portion of the grade is that you have created this web page. Part of the grade is a word count. It needs to be at least 150 words. You can go as long as you want, I guess. But it needs to be at least 150 words. And part of your grade is also that you add an image to your iLearn profile. So I will be looking for that. And then another part of your grade, it says in number 5 here under step 9, it says make comments on at least 5 of your peers' web pages. So take some time to get to know your fellow classmates and you might make a friend or two. So guys, these comments are worth points. Every semester there are several of you that don't make comments and you miss half of the points. Okay, so comment on your peers' board so that you can get all of the participation points. These are easy points. You can totally do this. And then one other thing, so if there was any other information that you wanted to share with your peers that maybe you didn't feel comfortable sharing on your web page here, you can share that in the discussion post. So maybe like if you want to be able to talk with your peers on WhatsApp or through texting so that you guys can help each other throughout the semester, you might want to share your phone number in the discussion board, but you probably wouldn't want to share your phone number here. So you can add that on there if you'd like. But with that, you should have created your first web page. It's a pretty simple web page, but still very exciting. So I hope you guys are proud of what you've done, and I am looking forward to reading your About Me pages and getting to know you.